Welcome to David Bradley Show with your host, David Bradley.
How y'all doing, everybody? Hey, I had a wonderful person, Jimmie Adams, give me a call, and we were talking earlier, and he's like, man, I got somebody I want to get in there. I think he'd be perfect. And he hooked me up with Leon Everette. I want everybody to say howdy to Leon. What's going on, Leon?
Oh, not a whole lot, David. How are you doing? I'm so glad you let me come up here to this big city up in here.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I mean, we got more than one red light, but, you know.
Well, you're bigger than we are. But I thank you for letting me come up and be on your show. It's a very good honor for me. So.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean,
I know it. I really think it was cool when I was talking to you on the phone. You said, "Now, come on up. Don't wear no stage shows either."
Yep,
I said,
that's
don't
right.
worry about that. I'm a redneck from South Carolina.
There you go.
You said, all we're going to do is sit around the kitchen table and talk. I said, that's my kind of place.
Laid back, man. That's all I'm about. Laid back. Don't have to worry about it.
Well, we're going to have a good old time, but when we going to eat?
Well, I had a snack earlier. I don't know what's going on after that, but
So you just invite me to the dinner table, huh?
Yeah,
We're just going to talk.
just hang out and talk.
Nothing to eat, right?
Hey, we got you something to drink now.
Yeah, I got no Sprite. Thank you for that.
So, Leon, from what I was telling, and like I said, kind of like last minute stuff, we throwed this together just for you. And I just kind of grabbed some stuff off the internet and everything else about you. And man, you've had one hell of a dadgum career, man.
I have. I've been blessed to have a good career. You know, actually, my career started in 1977.
Mm-hmm.
And I come up to Nashville, and I got me a job in Nashville.
Right.
And I was in the mail room of a little independent record company called True Records.
Right.
Was over in the Fair and Young building there, right off of Division Street.
Right.
And I was mailing out records. And so finally they said, well, we're going to take you in the studio and record. So I went in the studio and we started recording. And during the session, that's when they came in and said that Elvis had just died. And of course, you know, I don't have to tell you what happened. Everybody went blah.
Oh, yeah. Everybody was in mourning.
All the feeling was gone. The musicians was like, blah.
Yeah.
Let's just cancel this thing, you know.
Yeah.
So we canceled it and was going to come back in the next morning and start it back up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I got to the studio the next morning, they had wrote a song called Goodbye King of Rock and Roll.
Right.
And they said, we want you to record that. I said, I don't want to record that.
Yeah.
You know, I want to record what was recording before. You know?
Mm-hmm.
They said, no, we're going to record that this morning. So reluctantly, I did. We cut Goodbye King of Rock and Roll. And within 24 hours, it was already
Straight up.
Yeah, it was gone crazy. Within 36 hours, I was already on Johnny Carson's show, The Tonight Show, and blah, blah, blah. Well, that is not the career I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And I wasn't an Elvis imitator anyway. It was just a song called Goodbye King of Rock and Roll,
Yeah.
country style. And but that wasn't the way I wanted to go. So we kind of blah 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 and him hauled around. And then about that time, of course, Ronnie McDowell come out with The King Is Gone. You know, they went in and cut The King Is Gone and blah blah. And I heard it. And I said, man, Ronnie's got a song out there, King Is Gone, man. Let him take it. I don't want this. So they backed off. And, of course, Ronnie took off. And me and Ronnie became great friends. We're friends today. And,
Yeah, that's good.
That introduced us. And we're still friends today.
Yeah. And
long time friendship. But that's how that all really got started. And then I went back in and I cut some songs, you know. And cut a song called Still Loving You, my first top 20 record. And in Fat Business, talking about Elvis did it on the Hawaii Live thing.
yeah, I remember my mom had that.
Yeah. And so anyway, that kind of got things started. It was my first top 20 record on an independent label. And then, of course, I got fired from True Records.
I'm not even going to ask how, but go ahead.
I ain't either, but I got fired from that. So I was back home, and I guess are we going on with this here? Or am I jumping ahead of myself here?
Oh, you just do whatever you want to talk
getting,
about.
Huh? You ask me and I'll tell you.
I mean, I just love hearing the stories, you know, because a lot of the young ones out there right now, this new country and all that other stuff, they don't realize if it wasn't for guys like you and Elvis, Waylon, all of them,
Paycheck and Gary Stewart and all these old guys.
Yeah, I mean,
David Wilkins.
They wouldn't be able to do what they're doing now.
No, I mean, it was country music. We was talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
The old timers, and I'm saying I'm an old timer because that's how long. I had my first #1 record in 1980, and people say, "Man, I wasn't even born then."
Well, that's just it, man.
That's why you don't know my song.
1980. I mean, you've got top 10 Billboard charts for "Over," the song "Over," and
11 straight top 10s.
And you got 11 straight top 10s. "Over," "Hurricane," and "Give Me What."
Give Me What You Think Is Fair.
Yeah,
that was the biggest selling record of 1983.
Yeah, and then you get that the Traveling Band of the Year award in 1983.
1983, my band Hurricane, they sure did. They took top honors, Traveling Band of the Year. And the strange thing about these guys was, when I started making a little bit of money where I could hire some musicians, I put all these guys. None of them knew each other.
Yeah,
none of them. And it's just where I was bouncing around playing single gigs, using house bands and all. Well, if it was a good steel player or whatever, I'd write names down, or a good guitar player, or wherever I was at, I'd write these names down. And so that's what I started doing. And then whenever I got to where I could put a band together, right after Hurricane went #1, actually it was before. Hurricane went #1 because, we'd already had the band, and I took the band in and recorded Hurricane.
Yeah.
That was actually, and back then you were supposed to use studio musicians. I recorded Hurricane with my road band.
Awesome.
And it became a #1 record, so what can I say?
Oh, yeah.
But the feeling was there. But anyway, I put all these guys together, and like my drummer, he was from Grand Tower, Illinois. Keyboard player, he was from Cape Girardeau, Missouri. And my lead guitar player, Randy Wagner, he was from Atlanta, Georgia. In fact, the group Sting, not Sting the singer, but the Sting, the rock group back then, they was kind of like the Kiss thing, the high boot things and weirdos, and he had an afro. He couldn't even get in his Volkswagen, man. He drove off. You got in there, and all you could see was eyeballs sticking out the windshield.
Eyeballs and hair. That was it.
But he was actually a rock guitar player, but he come over country, man. He just made Midnight Rodeo. Everybody copied them country licks he had in Midnight Rodeo, which was another big record for him. But I had him, and then Terry Smith from Indiana, a boy that I met actually when I was in Vietnam. I did 2 tours of Vietnam.
I appreciate your service.
Well, thank you. You're mighty welcome. But Terry Smith, he was from Crawfordsville, Indiana. And actually, he's the one that kind of helped me learn how to play a guitar.
Yeah.
Because he played a little bit. Man, I thought that was just the coolest thing. And he was country. Boy, he was country. And
you got to say something. Dude, my hat is off to some of them old time pickers, man. Them suckers could play a lick and come up with something just like that, man.
Right off the head. That's the way Randy was on lead guitar. He could just tell him something other, and boom, he was there.
Yeah.
And like I say, Terry, he said, man, you need to buy you a guitar. Well, we went on R&R and was in the Philippines. And I went in the Philippines and I bought me a guitar. I paid $12 for that thing.
What kind was it? Do you remember?
I have no idea, but I know the neck was so wide, I couldn't even get my hand. Couldn't even get my hand around it to try to learn to make chords and the strings, man. It must have been a ½ inch off from the frets.
Yeah.
But that's what I actually learned how to play on was that Filipino guitar,
See, that's stories I love to hear.
And you talk about fingers hurting. They talk about how your fingers get blisters on it and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, right there where the strings are.
And all that. Man, let me tell you what, my fingers, I didn't have none trying to match them. And it sounded awful. You never could get it in tune.
Right.
So you just had to learn, well, you get it, if you tune it good in G, you better do all your songs in G, because if you go changing something else, it was out of tune.
Yeah.
But
that's pretty wild.
That's actually what I learned to play on. Like I say, he was from Crawfordsville, Indiana, and my steel guitar player, he was from Michigan. And I put all these guys together, and Tony Stevens, he was from Columbus, Georgia, and he was only a kid then.
Yeah.
Out of high school, and he was playing with a local group. He played fiddle, banjo, guitar, harmonica. just great.
Just one of them great talented guys.
I picked him up, and he went on the road, and that's really, he started growing, learning. And he was with me all those years, and then he just retired about 6 months ago from the technical manager of the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh, man.
And I picked him up when he was a kid.
That is awesome.
And he went on and became, and actually, my steel guitar player, Carson Chamberlain, he became, is it Dirk Bentley? I think it's, I can't remember which one of them it was. He started producing him and got him going. Yeah. And he's a big publishing company now. So, I mean,
that's awesome.
They all started with me, and they all had never been on the road, never done anything like that. And I put them together. And that was in 1980. And in 1983, that short of a time, they went up and picked up the Traveling Band of the Year. Hurricane Band did.
That is awesome.
And
I love that.
I'm proud of that.
Oh, yeah. They ought to be, too.
I birthed them.
Oh, yeah. But see, that's something that the newer age people don't understand. Back then, if you was a solo artist and you're going around, you had to deal with the house band. And nowadays they don't. They take their band with them. Everybody loads up, and it might be somebody that played on the album in the studio, or it might be somebody that they knew could play a little bit.
Well, that's how much it's changed now. The record labels and stuff like that. I mean, they buy these guys, they buy them buses. They pay for the band. I mean, they got it all right there.
Yeah, they don't know nothing about loading up in a Cadillac and going.
Oh, and just like you said, man, I put a zillion miles on an old van, my guitar and amp, and not have a clue what this old honky-tonk was down here in Florida, this honky-tonk over here in Missouri was, or you just pull in and you're at the mercy of whatever they got. And I mean, you was at the mercy of a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them, I mean, was like, oh, boy.
Walk in and be like, wait a minute, I'm playing what? Where?
There's a lot of them times where, you just kind of, oh, my Lord, just kind of reach over there and keep turning your amp up louder and louder and louder and just start framming on it so you can't hear them.
Oh, you got to.
And then, on the other hand, you walked in on, and some of those, they just like, studio players, man. I mean, you run over and rehearse with them a little bit, and I mean, they sit there and they write the charts out. They were great,
Yeah.
But I mean, you'd have to take the good with the bad, but that's just the way it was. And you was traveling by yourself. And like I say, you had to have a couple of hits and all that kind of stuff before you could afford to buy it, because record companies didn't buy it for you back then.
Oh, yeah. And now I think record companies are doing less and less to help artists out.
Oh, they are. And that's all the download stuff and all that,
Yeah.
And let's be honest, back then we made our money. You didn't make a lot being an artist. Really, it ain't what people think. You didn't make the big money. It was the publishing companies, the writers, and all this stuff that made the money, and all the artists was down the list. On.
But, yeah, you could be like 10 or number 12, whatever. That's when your money comes.
Yeah, you was way down there. But where you made your money was personal appearances, merchandise sales. And back then, my wife keeps correcting me.
That's what wives do.
You notice I said merchandise. Because back then it was all concessions,
Yeah.
I'll set my concessions up tonight. That meant T-shirts, hats, albums, and this kind of stuff now.
And you had to have that stock.
And I say that. My wife say, it ain't concessions. We're not selling food. I said, yeah. He said, it's merchandise. So I'm trying to get that in my head, merchandise.
Oh, it's all about the merchandising, man. All about it.
Yeah, but still concessions to me. Well, how much did you do in concessions tonight? Well, we did pretty good. That was a lot of hot dogs you sold. No, that was a lot of hats and albums I sold.
Yeah, we got gas money now.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's how we made our money back then. And like I say, the artist was the least. Well, but the thing of it was, you got percentage of retail. Well, an album back then, when I came along, it was $5.98, $6.98 retail.
Yeah.
So that's what you're getting your percentage off of, is actually retail. If they wasn't but one song on there that somebody wanted to hear, they had to buy the whole album, or either a 45. Yeah. Which, most people just went and got the album.
Yeah, which was the famous singles,
Yeah, 45 was still $1.25 or whatever it was, So,
yeah.
buy the whole album. But it was like you're getting your percentage of $6.98, just say retail.
Right.
Well, that amounted up. Well, now you can have a whole album out there or whatever, and they want one song. They can download it for 99 cents, and boom. How much money you done made now? Nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. Sit there and wait on a check for $5 or something.
Yeah, so I mean, so you got to get out there and make it selling merchandise.
Oh, yeah, you got to.
Personal appearances.
Well, I mean, a lot of people tell me about that, and I remember, you always had the merchandising guys, and they were selling it to shows and the concerts and all that other stuff. But on a smaller level, you had to have somebody that overseen it.
Right, yeah.
And then done your stuff for you. And nowadays, it's point, click, order, and whoever mails it to you, you ain't got all the warehousing. You ain't got to keep all the stuff. My merch guy, I mean, he's a pretty good dude, and only thing they got to do is go to my site, click, and
that's
about a week later, or I don't know how long it takes him, but then you get the merchandise in the mail.
Exactly.
You ain't got to do nothing.
It's a whole new world.
Amazon started that crap.
Yeah. It's a whole new world. And old dudes like me, I just ain't into it yet. I can't figure it out.
Oh, it's easy. Look, if my old butt can figure out some of this stuff, I'm sure your wife can figure out more than me.
My wife, she's pretty good at it. She's married to an old dummy like me. Hey, David, you're looking at somebody who don't know how to operate a phone too good, man.
Hey, it don't matter.
Them phones get me totally confused.
That's why you hand it to her. Say, here you go, baby.
I certainly do. Yeah, I say, what does this mean? I got to download this thing. Well, you got to download. I hand her the phone. I say, do it.
That's all you got to do.
I know, but I don't know what I'm doing. And then it'll start asking me questions. I don't have a clue what they're talking about. Oh, this year, I don't know. I'm just making up stuff now, but you need to put your TTI number in there or whatever. And what does that mean, I mean, what does all that mean? I don't know what it means.
Well, when you get over into the indie movie making stuff, because I did a couple of them guys on my show, and there's a IMDb, and you actually go to this website and put, looking for them, and it gives you their number, and everything is linked to that number, everything about them. And I'm like, well, why ain't they doing that in the music industry?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just but actors, actresses, movies, the directors, all that stuff, everything's on the IMDb. And it's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's over my head.
Yeah, well, it was mine too until it was explained to me.
That's why. Oh yeah, man. All this new stuff, man, it's just over my head. I'm the old school.
Well,
even when I started coming back up here and started recording again and all, because when I left RCA, I went with RCA Records, of course, and I was with RCA from 1980 to 1985.
Right.
Had a great career. Like I said, had 11 straight top 10 records. In 1981, was nominated New Male Vocalist of the Year.
Right, I read that.
Yeah, and we just knew we had it made. I mean, we knew we had it made. Even RCA said, man, you're going to get it.
Oh, yeah.
Get it. So I'll be John Brown just a couple months before the awards voting time shut down. Urban Cowboy came out. Johnny Lee came out with.
Oh Lord!
So what's the big thing, Johnny?
I can't even remember the neck. It's the song that was in the movie.
Yeah, the Urban Cowboy movie.
Hang on, I'm getting hand signals. There you go. I was getting hand signals from your wife in the background because me or you could not understand.
I ought to remember it good because it beat me. But I said, that's just my luck, man. I mean, because who was up against that year, I said, and RCA, I mean, they were confident. They said, man, you're going to get it this year. You got it. And then, like I said, just a couple months before the voting shut down, they come out with that and Looking for Love took off. I said, hey, that's just my luck, ain't it?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, he won, and he deserved to. But, I mean, I had a record out. He had a movie theme out.
Yeah.
And a record. How do you compete with that?
And then Mickey Gilley started doing all that stuff too, man.
You can't compete with that. So I had a good career in those 5 years. Like I say, in 81, I was nominated New Male Vocalist. I didn't get it. And then in '83, Give Me What You Think Is Fair, you know, it was one of the biggest selling records of 1983 period.
Yeah.
And well, I was blessed with that. Plus, in 1983 also, it was a great year for me. Coca-Cola came out with a soft drink.
Right.
That year. They invented this new drink. It was called Mellow Yellow.
Right.
And so they was looking for somebody to start a whole new campaign, write the theme song and the blah, blah, blahs and the whole thing, you know.
Oh, they got to go to marketing.
Yeah, they did it. But what had happened, I was playing at Billy Bob's in Fort Worth. I was there on Friday night, and George Strait was there Thursday night. I was there on Friday night, and Lee Greenwood was on Saturday night. Well, the Coca-Cola people, they were there to see George Strait and Lee Greenwood.
Right.
Because that's who they was then kind of decided they was look at. And
that's who they were pitching for.
Them. Yeah, approach them. So on Friday night, they was down there waiting, you know, for the Saturday night. So they was all in there just partying, having a good time at Billy Bob's, and we played. I didn't even know nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
There was anything going on. Nothing about it. Well, on that Monday, I got a call from the booking agency and said, hey, Coca-Cola wants to talk to you, wants to know if you'd be interested in a campaign with a new soft drink.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I said, soft drink? They said, yeah. Mellow Yellow. I said, what is that? What's a Mellow Yellow? Anyway.
It's a big drink now.
Oh, yeah. But I said, yeah, I guess so, you know. I said, I don't know nothing about it. They said, oh, no, it's a new drink, but they just want to know if you're interested. So I said, yeah. Well, a few days later, I got a call back, and Coca-Cola does all their advertising agency in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
So they said they're going to fly you up there and blah, 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 and go over the whole thing, which they did. They flew us up there.
Oh, yeah, you get the royal treatment for them.
Man, I mean, they rolled it all out there too, buddy. And then they brought out the nice cold Mellow Yellow and wanted us to taste it and all.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't that bad, you know.
Yeah.
It ain't bad.
Ain't good, but it ain't that bad.
And then they went on, you know, about all this. And so I agreed. We said, yeah. So they got contracts brought up and all that kind of stuff and told how much I was going to get. I did a 3-year campaign for $3 million. I did $1 million a year on it.
Sweet.
And, but I really screwed up because I was young.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, they said, okay, now we can do a 3-year contract for this.
Oh, yeah.
Or we can do like $1 million and residuals.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm young, you know. I'm saying, man, ain't but $1 million, you know.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody gonna like that thing, you know.
Yeah.
I says, I'm gonna take what I can get. Biggest mistake I've made. It's still a big drink, and I'll be getting residuals the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But hey, you live and you learn.
Well, I mean,
83 was a good year for me. So, I mean, you know, all that came down.
Well, that was back in the time when, you know, a lot of people didn't really understand a whole lot about that residual, you know.
I didn't. I mean, you know, residual, what does that mean, you know?
Yeah.
And
it's yeah, I think they'll work around it a little bit because, I mean, if they had explained you would have gotten royalties off of it the rest of your life, that would have been a whole different thing.
I understood that. I knew the music.
Yeah.
Where my money comes from.
Exactly.
Residual, I mean, what is that? I don't know what that is.
That's how they get you sometimes, man.
And they say, oh, you'll make money the rest of your life on residuals. I'm going, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. Whatever that is.
You be sitting in South Carolina right now with a drink and
man, I tell
not worrying about nothing.
Oh, and we did. I come up with a theme, and back then when it first started out, it was called "Mellow Yellow Rocked Your Thirst Away." You know?
Yeah.
Mellow Yellow Rocked Your Thirst, Rocked Your. And it went on like that. And but anyway, we cut the television spots and all in Bakersfield, California.
Yeah.
And Buck Owens and Buddy and all them, you know.
I was fixing to say, that's Buck Owens country, man.
Well, KUZZ is their radio station. They were sponsoring the whole big deal. And what they did, they made a big campaign like KUZZ was doing a national television commercial, blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. And they had free hot dogs and free Mellow Yellows to introduce a big crowd to Mellow Yellow and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's where we filmed it at. And so we had a great time out there and cutting it in Bakersfield, you know. And but let me tell you, I learned one thing. That's the first big national commercial that I'd done on a drink thing, and I'd done some other things with Dodge trucks and that kind of stuff, you know.
Oh yeah.
And but this time you could drink it in the can, and you could fake it.
Yeah.
But whenever you drink it out of a bottle, and it was glass bottles back then, not the plastic.
Yeah.
You had to turn it around so the mellow yellow shows.
Yep.
And you had to hold it. They showed just how you have to hold it so you don't cover the mellow yellow. And then you got to turn it up and just chug it, so you can see the little bubbles going. You had to really drink it.
Yeah.
Because the bubbles was going in. It was hot that day. I'm not lying to you. This is the truth. We drank 21 bottles of that stuff that day.
Oh, God.
But because they'd take different angles of the crowd. And then they had a trampoline there, and I'd jump off the stage and hit this trampoline, and, you know, mellow yellow, rock your thirst. I'd jump off,
Yeah.
show thirst away, and like I'm shooting up in the sky.
Yeah.
And all this kind of stuff, you know. But they'd have to take different angles, and then, you know, it's like one of them, I'd come off the stage and stand back there, you know, while the band's still playing, and I run off the stage. I'm chugging it down, you know, and then run back out and grab the microphone, you know, like I got thirsty. I had to run off while the band's playing to turn around and something, you know, crazy stuff. But anyway, we did all that, and all them takes, it was like 21. Well, I didn't know that. Read and see what the caffeine level is on.
Oh, dude, it's way up there.
It's more than coffee.
Way. Yeah.
It is out of this world.
And you drank 21 of them.
I sure did. No.
Oh, God.
And I don't have to tell you, you know, I was a lunatic.
You didn't sleep for a week.
I was wide open, boy. But, you know, it was a great experience. And I mean, you know, music was good to me, like I say. And I went all the way through 85 with RCA and had a great career. I was also one of the first country artists to ever play Wembley Stadium in London, too.
Yeah, I was reading that because
me and Bobby Bear and Crystal Gale.
Yeah.
We was the first ones to play Wembley Stadium in London.
Yeah, because I was looking at it, and I think y'all were among the first actual country acts that had actually went over there.
Yeah, well, that's what I say. It was the first country concert in Wembley. I mean, they had rock, and jazz and all that kind of stuff. It was big, you know. But they had never had a country concert in Wembley Stadium.
And see,
that was the first.
That's what's big right now. I mean, they've got. I mean, even up and coming artists, they're booking them in European tours left and right. It's like a lot of those guys, what y'all pioneered and what y'all started, man, they can't get enough of country music over there.
They can't. And I went back 3 years in a row, and I thought it was really cool. The next year we went back, because, I mean, we went over so big and all. I mean, people just loved it. It was packed out. And, I mean, them people went, wow.
I can imagine, man.
That's one of the best audiences I ever played for.
Oh, dude, and just make the hair stand up on your arms when you go out there.
It was crazy. And then the next year, when we went back, it was me and Ronnie Millsap and I think Sylvia. I can't remember the whole, but it was a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I thought I was a top dog, boy, because guess who headlined the Wembley show next year? And Ronnie Millsap opened for me.
Oh, hey. Man, that would have been awesome.
Hey, that was pretty cool.
I would have loved that.
But I headlined the show at Wembley the next year.
That is awesome.
It's, you know, just because I you know, they loved me over there.
Yeah.
But then they sent us to, it was the third year we was over there. They sent us to Peterborough, England. This is after we done the thing in London.
Right.
The Wembley. Then they sent us to Peterborough, England. This is way, I mean, it's way away from London. I mean, it's like y'all are here where we at now, way away from Nashville.
Yeah.
This is way away from London. It's way out in the sticks. And I mean, they're country folks out in there, farmers and this kind of stuff.
And say, I love that.
And it's called Old West Days.
Awesome.
Peterborough. Well, they'd had country music up there before. But, so they booked us up there. And, I mean, everybody had cowboy hats on. And, like, the ladies and all, they'd wear the old bonnets.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and the big dresses and this kind of stuff. It was cowboy. And they'd wear their cowboy hats, and they'd wear their guns, pistols.
Sweet.
Just like cowboys, you know.
Man, I'd love that.
Everybody wore them. We're going, Lord, what kind of deal is this, you know? So we got there, and, I mean, we thought, boy, we just go blow this place away like we did in London.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got started, and they had a band there. It was called Truck Stop. They were from Germany. We was the only American act there.
Yeah.
But they was from Germany. Boy, they were getting down. I said, man, we gonna go over good over here, because they were good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
People loved them. But they'd been there before.
Yeah.
So it came our time, boy, we went out, boy, we just go blow this place away.
Right.
Man, we cut loose, and we were looking out there, and nobody was doing anything. And well, we were just turning it on, you know.
Wow.
Nobody was doing nothing. And about halfway through the first song, all of a sudden, these guys, they start pulling them pistols out.
Mm-hmm. Shooting in there.
Shooting in there. I mean, you're talking about thousands of people, and they all started shooting them guns.
Yeah.
Well, there was 7 of us, boy. You're talking about running.
Well, I mean, back in the day when they would shoot guns in there, wasn't that kind of like a celebration?
Yeah,
we love this.
Yeah, I'm going to finish to tell you what happened.
Oh, I got to hear it. I got to hear it.
My poor old piano player, man, he done crawled up under the piano. My guitar player, he snatched the cord slap out of his amp because he didn't even unplug. He took off running with his guitar still on.
Oh, man.
But everybody, we went running. And they was back there behind stage trying to catch us, and they were laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing. And we didn't know what was going on. Scared us to death. So then the promoter came back out there, and the people all out in the audience and all, they were laughing and hollering and screaming and all this kind of stuff. They brought us back out there. Well, they told us before they brought us back.
Yeah.
He said, listen, guys, calm down, calm down. He said, it's a tradition. He said that when a new artist comes over, if they like them, they're going to start shooting.
Oh, man.
If you go through the first song and they haven't shot the first pistol and everybody's still standing there, you done bombed out.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that helped.
Yeah.
If they'd have told y'all first.
But they brought us back out, man, and the audience was dying laughing, man. And they just loved us then, you know. And they were laughing at us and all this kind of stuff. But then we got cranked back up. Man, we wound up playing about 2 hours straight. They would not let us off the stage.
Oh, man.
That was a great time. But that was just one of them things that, you know, that the joke was on us.
Yeah, pretty much.
But long story short, like I say, you know, that same band, like, they won they won in '83, the Hurricane Band.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That was the same
awesome.
band, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the same band. Same band.
You hand-picked little bandits going out there.
Band. Sure did. And I was with RCA until '85.
Yeah.
And great career. A lot of firsts. I was also the first country artist to be a grand marshal at Mardi Gras.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah, Samson and Delilah Mardi Gras parade in New Orleans. I was the first. They always had politicians or actors or you know, this kind of thing. But I was the first country artist to be grand marshal of Mardi Gras because of Hurricane.
Yeah.
You know, Hurricane was like a national anthem down there. You know,
well, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. The Lake Pontchartrain and all. But anyway, I was one of the first. It's been a lot of firsts for me.
Yeah.
And, you know, God blessed me with all that stuff, you know. I've been blessed. And then in '85, I either got fired or either I quit RCI. I'm not really sure.
Are you sure it wasn't a I quit, no, you're fired kind of thing?
I really don't know.
If anybody knows, please let us know. I mean,
I'll put it this way. I was on my 11th straight top 10 record, you know.
Right.
Had, you know, several number ones, and I had 11 straight top 10 records in a row. I was on my 11th straight top 10 record, a song called I Could Have Had You. Mm-hmm. And it was number 8, Super Bullet, in Billboard. And, you know, if anybody don't know what Super Bullet is, Super Bullet, it had, you know, you could climb up the charts with no bullet, you know, that you're mediocre, whatever, just climbing. Yeah. If you had a bullet, you got a pretty hot record. If you had a Super Bullet, it was the biggest selling and the biggest, most requested record.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's what that meant. Well, I was at 8 Super Bullet in Billboard. Well, I'm not naming names, but we kind of got into it over at RCA about some things and blah, 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 you know. And,
things happen, you know.
Yeah. and they didn't like some of the things I said, and I didn't like some of the things they said. Hey, if they got a right to say something, I got a right to say something.
Well, it's a mutual understanding, I mean.
And I've always been known for running my mouth and putting my foot in. But here I was, 8 Super Bullets, so I just kind of got mad at some things that were being said, and I just said, well, you know what Nipper the dog is, right? It's the, the logo for RCA. It's Nipper, the little white dog looking in the phonograph thing,
I don't even know if they even use that anymore.
I don't think they do. I hadn't seen it in forever, but it used to be RCA Victor, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, and I wasn't a real good person back then. I stayed drunk all the time and messed up, that kind of stuff. So I was about half out of it anyway, and I just popped up. I didn't like what they were saying. I said, well, y'all know what y'all gonna do with Nipper the dog? And and I didn't say it real kind, though, Yeah,
well, but you made fun of the dog. You don't need to be making fun of the dog.
This is what y'all can do with Nipper the dog. Well, next thing I know, next week, ain't nobody ever come out of Billboard as fast as I have.
Yeah.
I went from 8 Super Bullet till I wasn't even in the top 100 in Billboard the very next week.
Dude, it don't take long when them big boys talk.
So I said, I think I quit or either I got fired. I'm not sure which it was. But I think I got fired because I ain't even in the charts anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's really kind of what happened. I got discouraged and burnt out, and I've had enough of it, and that's what happened to me.
Just took a break.
Yeah, I took a long break, 30-something years. When I left Nashville, I said I'll never step foot in this town again. Ain't no way I'll ever step foot in this town again. I quit music. I wouldn't play. I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't even talk to my old buddies and all. I mean, I had so many friends, artist friends. I ain't gonna name them all.
Well, I mean,
so many of them, and I just kind of I wouldn't talk to them anymore. I mean, I wanted nothing to do with any music.
Yeah.
I just went away from the music business, period.
That's the way I was in 2008, man. When I shut down my shop on my production stuff and doing licensed sound, I'd been screwed over, messed around. They just worked their little magic on me. I had, 4 or 5 clubs that owed me freaking money. The clubs went out of business overnight. Never heard or seen from any of them ever again. And it wore me out. And I just said, I'm done. And then, of course, when I got married to that, anyway. I
think I'll take a little sip.
Yeah, you need a sip on that one. Take a sip on that one.
That would simmer a little bit.
Yeah. But anyway, I got away from it. And here just recently, I got that old itch, man. I like doing stuff. I like helping people out. And I did this whole podcast. Everybody kept telling me, look, you got this voice for this, do this. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll try it. So far, it's working out good. And
that's all.
The great part I like is I get to meet people. I get to have conversations with them. And I love hearing stories. And with you being in the industry as long as you was and everything, dude, I love hearing those old stories because people don't understand. They don't understand what it took to cut your teeth in the music industry back in the 70s and 80s.
It's hard. It was hard.
They have no clue.
It was hard.
But
I mean, you lived it, and the song proved it.
Yeah, you had to.
Like I say, we've talked about that a lot. The emotion in songs. And,
oh yeah.
I mean, you get there and the old timers. I mean, you could cry along with them, so to speak.
Yeah.
Singing, they're singing it from the heart. Do you remember Wayne Kemp? Way back.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, a lot of people don't remember him. He was a big artist.
Yeah.
He was a great, great writer. He wrote The Fireman and all that there for George.
Oh, he's a wonderful storyteller.
Oh, man, he could write songs. But he wrote them because of the life that he lived.
Yeah.
Those were songs that he lived.
Oh, yeah.
And when he sang, man, he could just sit there and make you cry. And one of my favorites is, you ever heard, Haven't You Heard Daddy's Gone Crazy?
I think I've heard that one.
A lot of people hadn't heard it now.
And say,
and it'll just tear your heart up. I mean, haven't you heard Daddy's Gone Crazy?
Yeah, but us sitting here talking about it, guess what? Somebody's going to look it up.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to listen to it. That's what I love about this.
Wayne Kemp.
Yep.
That's it.
I mean, he was awesome.
Oh, he wrote so many things. And little David Wilkins, I mean, you remember little David.
Oh, yeah.
Little David, One Monkey Don't Stop No
Well,
Show.
I mean, you just did something with him, didn't you?
Yeah, well, that's what got me back to Nashville, was little David. I mean, we were friends way back yonder in the late 70s. And
we got to hear this story. Now, you left. You got sick and tired of the music industry. You was never going to step foot back in this town ever.
Never.
What made you come back? I'm glad you are, by the way. I'm glad you are back. But what bring your butt back?
Well, about 5 years ago, Jimmie Adams, which I've been knowing Jimmie Adams for like 40 years. I mean,
Don't forget to give the shout out for Jimmie.
Okay. Jimmie Adams, the greatest guy in the world. I mean, in fact, the business, man, he plays 7 instruments.
There you go.
He was a national, big-time wrestler. He was so good looking, he had to wear a mask.
Twice.
Yeah. and man, you talk about singer. Oh my goodness, what a singer he is. He's been wanting to do a duet with me now for years.
You be singing with the voice of an angel, man.
Yeah, I refuse. I have refused and refused and refused. He said, "Why won't you sing? Let me sing with you." I said, "Man, they would never want to hear me again. Oh, they want to hear you, you know."
Yeah, I seen the Facebook thing where he was holding the guitar, and I was like, "What is this guy doing?"
Did you see that?
Yeah.
I couldn't even find the key he was singing. I finally just said, "I can't even find the key." I just quit.
You just quit. The heck with
it. But yeah, Jimmie and I, we go way back, and gosh, I mean, you talk about stories. I mean, back then in the early 80s and things, I mean, his name was like, royalty in L.A. Back then, he could walk in anywhere, and it wasn't like Mr. Adams this or whatever,
Right.
It would go in and, I mean, "Hey, Jimmie, how you doing?"
Yeah.
Well, one time, I was out in L.A. We was doing it at the Shrine Auditorium there, the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
And I was on the Academy Awards that week, and I was out in L.A., and, of course, Jimmie was out there. He called me at the motel. He said, "Hey, get ready. I'm coming over to pick you up." I said, "Where we going?" He said, "We're just going to ride around." So I got ready. So we started riding around, and he goes out to Burbank out in there, that way. Next thing I know, he's pulling in on the lots,
Yeah.
And I'm talking about soundstage lots now.
Yeah.
He's pulling in on the lots out there, and then we go to this one building, and he goes walking in, and the girl over there said, "Hey, Jimmie, how are you?" And he says, I don't remember the guy's name, but it's like Jimmie said, "Hey, is David Bradley back there,
Yeah.
And they said, "Yeah, he's back there on the soundstage back there, blah, blah, blah." He just walked right on in there, and I'm following him. So we go in, and he introduces me to him and all this kind of stuff, and Jimmie said, "Hey, this is a friend of mine. He's with RCA Records, and blah, blah. And he's going to be out here for the Academy Awards and all this stuff." He says, "Can you do anything with him?" I'm going, "What's he doing?" Who can do anything with him? And
he just throwed you right out there, didn't he?
Yeah, I didn't even know what he was talking about. And then, so he told me, the guy did, he told Jimmie, he said, "Yeah, have him back over here in the morning." So we left out there, and I said, "What are we going to do in the morning?" He said, "Don't you know that's General Hospital, man? You're going to be on General Hospital." I said, "What's a General Hospital?" I didn't watch soap operas, man. I didn't know what no General Hospital
Oh,
was.
Lord. If you was in General Hospital, my mother is going to be calling me wanting to get an autograph from you being on General Hospital. She lived and breathed.
Well, we went back
stuff.
in there the next morning, and sure enough, they had wrote me in for 2 shows.
Wrote you in the script.
And I had on, they gave me a brown shirt, and they had like these little logo things on there from a floral shop or something. Those a bouquet or whatever,
So like a delivery guy type thing.
That's what I was. I was a delivery boy.
There you go.
And I had to go in and like to the desk or whatever there, that nurse, and is Dr. David in, I got a flower for him, and boom, boom, boom. While he's in surgery, well, would you sign here or something, that kind of stuff. Anyway, I did that on 2 shows of General Hospital. So
Awesome.
I was a big flower boy, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought I should have got an Academy Award or an Oscar or something. But anyway, they never didn't even submit me, man.
I don't understand it.
And I had a talking spot, too.
Especially as handsome as you are.
I had to ask for Dr. So-and-so, you know. Would you sign here? That's a big line, man. It took me all night long to learn that.
Your wife back there is laughing her butt off, you know.
But I mean, that's the power that Jimmie Adams had back then.
Oh, yeah.
And then he was in the motel room, and he picked up the phone, made a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Who's he calling now?" And he said, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" He said, "My buddy Leon Everett's out here for the Academy Award." I said, "You available? Let's go to dinner tonight." And anyway, well, we get together next time. He hung up, and it was Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
And he couldn't go because he's out on his yacht. He was calling Sylvester for us to go out to eat.
That's nice.
I mean, that was Jimmie Adams back in the day.
But
anyway,
cool.
Long story. I don't know how we got off on that. But anyway.
I don't know. You started it. I mean, I was just
No, you started it. You asked me something.
I don't remember.
I don't remember why I answered.
See, this is why I like this atmosphere. You just sit and talk. It doesn't matter. You just have a conversation.
I know what it was because
What got you back in Nashville?
Jimmy. Yeah, that was it.
That was
got
it.
me back in Nashville. Well, like I said, I've been out of Nashville 32 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jimmie started calling me because I hadn't talked to Jimmie in all those years.
Yeah.
But he can get your phone number. He started calling me. But the thing with Jimmie Adams, he stays up all night long and sleeps during the day. You know how the music industry is.
Oh, yeah.
They don't get livened up till the middle of the night. 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, he started calling me. Well, you know, after I got out of the music business and all, I started living like a human being. You know, I went to bed early and got up early, you know, like real people do. And,
yeah, 5 a.m. comes real early.
Yeah. So you know, 2 o'clock in the morning, he's calling. It wasn't cell phones back then. Now you had to either turn the ringer off or something, you know, on the old phones. You know how loud they were.
Oh yeah.
So there wasn't no shutting him up. So he kept on. He said, "Man, you got to come back to Nashville. You got to come back to Nashville." I said, "I don't want to come back to Nashville." And he kept on. He would call me night after night. Then it got him and little David Wilkins.
Both of them.
Little David, right?
Yeah.
Man, they would get out and they both calling me. They was calling me.
Yeah.
And what had happened, little David Wilkins, he'd wrote a song called "I Stand the Tallest When I'm Down on My Knees."
Right.
And little David wanted me to do a duet with him on it.
Awesome.
And I kept saying, "I'm not coming to Nashville." And this went on and on and on. And they sent me, of course, the tape and all that stuff. After I could hear it and all that stuff. And it was a great song. I loved it. And because they knew I was doing gospel music then, because I've been doing gospel music and all now.
Yeah.
For years now in church. And so they knew I was doing gospel, so that's why he wanted me to do that song with him.
So they threw the hook out there with the bait on it.
And kept on it. And it was a great song. And it wasn't wrong. So it kept on and kept on. I said, "Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I ain't been in no recording studio in 30-something years. I ain't had no headphones. I ain't been in front of a microphone." I said, I don't even know if I can do it or not. I said, "But if y'all would just shut up calling me, I'll come to Nashville. I'm going to go in. I'm going to record the song with little David, and I'm coming back to Ward, South Carolina."
Yep.
So they said, "Okay, you come and do it. We'll leave you alone."
Totally different from them studios of old, wasn't it?
Yeah. I got up here. Me and my wife, Diane, we didn't bring but a few changing clothes because they had us up in the hotel over there. And we was going to go do this and go cut the thing, you know, and I was coming back home.
Yeah.
So we didn't bring that many clothes or nothing. So we did the song. 2 weeks later,
Oh, yeah.
left Nashville. We had to go buy clothes and stuff
Oh, yeah.
up here because we were stuck up here. They wouldn't let us go. One thing led to another, one thing led to another. Because once we did I Stand the Tallest in the gospel charts, it come out. First time I'd had anything out. But
Went right up, didn't it?
it stayed number 1 5 weeks.
Sweet.
In the gospel charts. And one thing led to another and boom, boom. And so I signed a management deal with Jimmie, of course. And, and he's my manager. And
That just opened you up for a lot of phone calls.
I mean, we haven't pushed anything hard, but a lot of things, has been happening. And so one thing led to another, and here I am.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I met Jimmie, and I was trying to book another.
Well, you know how pretty
artist.
he is then.
Yeah.
If you met him, you know how pretty he is.
Well, I haven't met him in person yet.
Oh, you ain't met him in person?
No.
Oh, man, he's beautiful. Ooh.
I told him bring his butt up here.
Well, that'd be hard.
He might be showing up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what you was talking about. I mean, he'll be banging on my door at 3 o'clock. I want to see the studio.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, me and Jimmie actually talked this morning.
Oh, really?
And next thing actually it was this afternoon, and we were talking, and he was telling me who all he represented and everything, and he's like, I got somebody I want you to meet. And I said, who? And he said, Leon Everette. You got to get him on the show. And I said, okay, well, we'll start looking at scheduling him in and everything. I'd love to talk to him. I'd love to hear some of this stuff. I knew your name before he said it. But he said, well, he's leaving Friday. And I'm like, well, get his ass up here. I apologize to everybody because I am a little blunt sometimes, but that's exactly what I told the man. I don't differentiate, just telling it like I said it. And he's like, hang on a minute. And then he called you, and I was like, what is this guy doing,
And I thought he was pulling some kind of prank. That's why I was, here's how I answered it. I said, hey, And then all of a sudden I said, whoops.
Who's on here? What? And then he's like,
he was calling me pulling a prank or something,
Yeah, and he's like, hey, you're going to be on the David Bradley show. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll send you the info, and that's when me and you started texting.
Yeah.
Or me and your wife was texting. I don't know. And I just had to have you on here because, man, the history behind you and everything and how you've crossed over into the gospel and everything, I just love it. I love the whole story, man.
Yeah, man, it's been a road. It's been a journey.
Oh, I can imagine.
I've loved every minute of it, man. And since I've been in the gospel music, man, I haven't changed.
Yeah.
I mean, your wife, wait, let me take that back.
I was going to say, you don't drink no more.
Well, I've changed a lot. But I'm talking about music-wise and stuff like that. I'm still, back in the RCA days, even Joe Galante himself, president of RCA, he called me a maverick one time on an interview. It was talking about me and Waylon and Charlie Pride and Donnie, all of us artists was at that time.
Well, see, I referred to all y'all back then as the Outlaw group.
It was more or less.
I mean, y'all were changing music history.
Well, we toured for almost a year. Get this now. It was David Allen Coe, Hank Jr., myself, the Outlaws, and Dickie Betts, guitar player. And so that was the team that we had back then.
Oh,
and every now and then Charlie Daniels would be on it or somebody else might be on it. But that was the package then.
Yeah.
And we did that for almost a year.
Man,
and you talk about some wild stories. We don't even want to get in some of that
That's
stuff.
2 or 3 behind-the-scene books. And
but, I mean, you just,
this
like
name
David
is...
Allen Coe, and that was all the Outlaws.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, Hank, it was wild. It was great. But, I mean, we had a great time.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, we played everywhere. Hey, I was with Hank. You probably heard this story before. It wasn't one of the shows with Coe and all them. But we wasn't doing that. Me and Hank was doing, like, Coliseum shows and stuff like that.
Right.
Me and Hank. And so we was in, I think it was Tallahassee Tallahassee. I don't know. I think it was Tallahassee. It was in Florida anyway. So Hank always had 3 buses and 2 tractor and trailer trucks, and I had 2 buses.
Right.
Well, we was in there, and in Coliseum, we did the show. We come off the stage, and I went to go to the bus, and the whole parking lot out there was surrounded with cop cars and all this.
Oh, Lord.
Everything. And I'm going, what in the world? So come to find out, this was all in the papers. I'm not telling nothing that nobody don't know about it. You probably know what I'm fixing to talk about.
Well, we might have a few people want to fact check us, So
yeah, go ahead. The IRS had come in, and they confiscated his buses and his trucks. Out at the airport, they confiscated his airplane. His airplane out at the airport there.
Yeah, I heard.
Fly in.
I heard they confiscated all the equipment.
We was on it, and I'm going, oh my Lord! What about my buses? They didn't. My buses was okay.
That's good.
Yeah,
but I heard they took like stage gear, all kinds of stuff.
That's what I'm saying. We just did get off the stage. At least I got my show done. and then I wanted to get paid, and they said, "They ain't no pay tonight."
Damn.
They confiscated everything. I was on that show.
Man.
It was in Tallahassee. I'm pretty sure it's Tallahassee. But I'm going, I'm freaking out. I said, man, they going to take my buses and all this stuff. But they didn't take my buses.
You got lucky.
Yeah. Well, no, they didn't have my buses, but they took everything, even his airplane.
Oh, man. That's just wrong.
Yep.
You take somebody's airplane. That's just wrong.
It was wrong. And, and they took my money that night, too.
That was double wrong.
Yeah, the IRS owes me money because I did my show. I finished my show.
And now you can take and go, I want interest, please.
Oh, yeah.
Give
try
me the
that
interest.
With the IRS. You just try that.
You ain't getting nothing.
If you owe it, they're going to get you, but you try to get it.
So what show?
I guess I'll get a knock on the door from the IRS.
You never know. You might want to delay South Carolina for a day or two. They might be knocking on your door waiting on you. So what shows you got coming up, man? You got some stuff lined up? Or?
Well, we just started through Jimmie Adams, and we just started a new show, and it's God and Country Time with Leon Everette. And I'm doing a TV show.
Oh, sweet!
And we started putting some stuff in the can here a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And in fact, tomorrow we're filming some more segments, and I'm gonna film. I'm interviewing the CEO of Grace Records, and Debbie Bennett. Mm-hmm. And she's got a new label really kicking butt in town. She's got some great artists on there. I think they got like 10, 11, 12 artists or whatever.
Yeah, she's back there waving hi.
But I'm interviewing her tomorrow on the show also. And,
awesome.
Yeah. And she's got some great artists. Well, she's a great artist herself. And by the way, I just, they had the Cowboys and Sweethearts, and it's a showcase for new artists.
Right.
They just had it Monday night at the Troubadour.
Yeah, I was actually supposed to be down there, but I ended up having something else I forgot about and had to take care of that. So
no, you found out I was there. That's why you didn't
No.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been down there if you was there.
Yeah, that's what you're telling me now. But that's probably it. Next time you're going to be there.
Next time you're at the Troubadour, I'll bring my little butt down there, okay?
But I was actually...
Look, I'll tell my assistant right there. Next time he's at the Troubadour, let me know so I can go down there. And if he ain't got me front row seats, I ain't going.
I don't have no clout. They say front row seats for you. I don't think so.
You here to see who?
But I was actually co-hosting with John Collins, and the pastor John Collins, he's the cowboy preacher. You need to interview him.
Yeah.
He'd be a good one. He's got a great story.
But I don't do interviews.
Well,
we just have conversations.
Yeah, I know, but I think I'm gonna start a GoFundMe or something other, so that when you're sitting around the dinner table, you should be eating a little something.
Well, I mean, what we got some chicken over there for him or something. Wait a minute, there's Fruit Loop flavored jelly beans in my room.
Oh man, that'd be. Come to the David Bradley show, and you will have jelly beans for supper. But
you can blame Jimmie. He's the one that pushed us in a hurry, So
I noticed he didn't come. He's probably eating a Cracker Barrel or something other than right back.
Either that, or he's went over to Popeye's Chicken and got him something.
Probably,
you never know.
I'm gonna send Leon up to David Bradley's, and I'm gonna go eat.
There you go.
That's what the whole deal is. But I was honored to be asked to be a co-host and introduce a lot of these new artists and all. And there's some great artists and coming along, and I was honored to do that. and Debbie Bennett was there, representing Grace Records, of course, with her artist and all, and Debbie got up there and just blew the house apart. Man.
Sweet.
Yeah. And so,
Debbie, I'm coming to check you out too.
So I was asked, since I was co-hosting, I was asked to do a couple songs. So I went back and I done Hurricane, and then I did my new single. I got a brand new single that just come out right now. It's called Cut and Paste. Okay. And it's real updated. You know, that just cut and paste your picture next to mine. That's the only time I get to see or talk to you. It's on the phone.
Pretty much,
That's the way it is. You know.
Yeah.
I mean.
Welcome to the new age, man.
That's what it's all about. And said, cut and paste your, cut and paste your picture next to mine. That's the only time I get close to you, But that's what the song's about. But I kind of debuted it Monday night, and like I said, I went back and done Hurricane, and I just did it acoustically. Well, I called Debbie and I said, Debbie, I need you to do harmony, sing with me on Hurricane, and she said, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then she told me, she's all the way from North Carolina. She was listening to it over and over and trying to learn it.
Trying to remember it.
But, man, I think we just blew away. We had a great time. But anyway, you need to get Debbie and interview her. She's got a lot of good artists, too. And
yeah.
And that's what I love about the music. But like you said it a while ago.
Yeah.
Getting up in town and mingling and seeing the old friends again,
Oh, yeah.
And it sounds, it's really weird, when you ain't seen somebody in 35, 40, 30 years, over 35 years or whatever. People come up, man, you still around? I thought maybe you was dead or something. I heard that so much, man. I thought you was dead.
I can imagine.
The funny thing is, when they'll call me and say, hey, certain radio station wants to do an interview with you, with cut and paste, blah, blah, blah. And so they found out that, you had cut and paste out there, and we talked to him, said they want to set an interview up, said, man, we thought he was dead.
Yeah.
So.
Actually, I never knew what happened to you.
Huh?
I never knew what happened to you.
I was dead.
Okay.
I'm like Lazarus now.
Hey, you done come back up, and now you're on the gospel side, brother.
I'm alive again. That's right.
That's good. I'm glad you're back.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I mean,
and getting back into it, and like I say, meeting the people and making acquaintances with new people and the older people that I used to know, and man, it just feels so good. And meeting new people like you, David.
I appreciate it.
And I, it's really an honor and it really a good feeling, as old as I am, and as long as I was out of the music business, to be accepted back into it.
Well, I mean, you left a lot of good impressions and a lot of good music, and people ain't forgot about that. Right. And a lot of people, especially some of the younger ones, with their writing and however they're doing it, a lot of them do go back and listen to a lot of the people that started it, and a lot of them really surround that whole outlaw country thing. I mean, I was big on it, man. I loved it.
Yeah, I know you. I know you was in the outlaw stuff.
I was bad about it, man.
So you know what we were doing back then.
Oh yeah, I mean, but y'all changed the music industry. Y'all really did.
Yeah,
and it just how y'all were just like that iconic Johnny Cash photograph where he's giving the finger, and I mean, y'all guys were right there, dude. And I loved it because y'all wanted that raw, good public sound. And
just wanted to be you.
Just wanted to be you. You didn't want people making you something that you wasn't. You just wanted to be you.
And that's what happens to so many artists. They make them what they want them to be.
Yeah.
And what they came to town for to be, they're not.
Yeah. And that's sad.
Why I guess we was called outlaws. Because going back to this, I'm proud of this fact that you couldn't record with your road band back then. You had to have all this stuff. Well, see, I went against that grain because I had studio musicians in there, was in one of the best studios in town. I had some of the top players in town, but I could not get the feel on Hurricane the way I wanted it to go.
Yeah.
And me and my band, man, we was playing it out there. Even before it was a record, we was playing it.
Yeah.
And I could not get the feel on it.
Yeah.
So, and So they wouldn't let me do it with the band, of course. So, and I don't mind telling this now because I ain't on the contract no more. Anyway,
Well, that's right.
So I don't mind telling this. What I did one night, and back then, you had to sign all union cards.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't none of this here stuff. You went in the studio, it was all union cards there, and you had to sign.
Right.
Okay. So I went in, and we cut Hurricane, and then I brought them back, and we tried to rearrange it a little bit, pay for another session and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I just could not get it the way I wanted to.
Yeah.
So I got aggravated.
Mm-hmm.
So I hadn't turned it in to RCA because I wasn't happy with it. Nothing.
Right.
So one night we was coming through town, and I went ahead and I called. I ain't gonna mention names. I called somebody and I said,
Yeah.
I want the studio
Mm-hmm.
about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, And so we come in on our way to the show. We came in with the band. We went in the studio, and we laid the tracks and cut Hurricane and out. And I went back the next week, and we got there and mixed it and overdubs and this kind of stuff, remixed it and done all this. Well, then I turned it in to RCA.
Mm-hmm.
My band didn't get 1 penny because, we couldn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the union cards done been signed, and the union done got paid for these players.
Yeah.
So I couldn't put in the time.
Mm-hmm.
So my band never got the credit for it, never got nothing, but it was my first #1 record.
Yeah. And that's something to be proud of.
And then going back to what I was going to tell you, what I said a while ago, I'll tell you how this came about. Then we come back and we cut Give Me What You Think Is Fair was one of the biggest selling records of 1983.
Mm-hmm.
Midnight Rodeo, which I don't have to tell you about how big that one was.
Oh, yeah.
They even named clubs after that. And all this was done with my band.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever they found out at RCA what I was doing,
Oh, they didn't like that?
no, but they called me in. But what they going to do? Shoot a winning horse? Because everything that was happening then was with my band.
Yeah.
And that's whenever Joe Galante had done an interview, and he said, Leon Everett's nothing but a maverick. He won't do what he's told, and blah, 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 blah.
Exactly.
That's how the term came about, that Leon Everett is a maverick in town. And I was called Ted Nugent of country music.
Mm-hmm.
You might remember that. When that was a big thing, a big country music magazine. What was it called back then?
Oh, Lord, I can't even remember.
Country Song Roundup.
Yeah.
Country Song Roundup, that big one you could, all the supermarkets.
Well, I remember.
They had on there the Ted Nugent of country music, Leon Everett, and all. Where did that come from?
There ain't no telling, but you hunt, you fish.
I'm a redneck boy. I'm a redneck from Ward, South Carolina.
There you go.
But it takes a lot of stuff. It ain't like that now.
No,
and you had to do crazy stuff back then.
But
it was a lot of fun.
That's what drew a lot of good old country boys to that whole outlaw country. Y'all were doing it. The heck with the establishment. We're doing it our way. Because I know what I'm listening for. I know what I want. And if you hadn't have done that,
exactly,
ain't no telling where it would have went.
And it may not be musically correct.
Yeah.
But the soul, boy, man, that just feels good.
Oh, yeah, you got to
musically correct. It might not have made you feel that way.
Yeah,
just
that's
like
true.
Politically correct when you talk. Don't do nothing for me. It's saying, hey, listen to this over here, So, it's the same thing. You know? You got to feel it. If you don't feel it, it ain't no good.
That's right. And that's why you got to write what you know, what you lived.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that. But, man, in a sense, I totally agree with him. Mm-hmm. You was a maverick of the day amongst a bunch of other mavericks. And it was just awesome.
Well, now it's an honor to be called that now, but back then it made me mad. I said, "What have I done?" And you're gonna love this, man. I played the Ryman Auditorium, so quite a few times. Mm-hmm. But then whenever they moved the Opry out to the
out there at the Opryland,
Opryland, yeah. Back then it used. I was telling my wife, I said, "What, the mall and all that stuff is that wasn't there then? It was like Six Flags or something."
Oh yeah, it was wonderful.
Be a big amusement park, like
I loved it. They had everything. They had animals out there, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Had a train.
Yeah.
I'm not even looking at you. I'm looking at her. They had a train that went all the way around, and it was an old. I can't remember the name of it, But it was awesome. You got on that train. It was open cars. You just rode through. You seen the animals, seen other people. I mean, it was awesome stuff, man. I loved it.
It used to be a big, like I say, Six Flags or whatever, all these places. It's great.
And see, I'm going to tell you a story. You're going to laugh your butt off about this one. My aunt, okay? If anybody knows anything about Opryland or any of that, my aunt, her name was Wilma Briggs. She is on the record at telling Elvis Presley when he first started, he would never, ever play the Grand Ole Opry. This was when he first started. All right. So I had to get that story out of the way because she was big on all that Opryland, the Grand Ole Opry, all that stuff. I don't know exactly what her title was. I guess I need to ask Mom one day, but she used to get me into Opryland free all the time. So I had a lot of friends that wanted to go to Opryland with me all the time. And it got to where we were living out there, and she would just walk up, and I just felt like I was, big king, she'd walk out there with us and just run us on in. But I just had to tell that story about her telling Elvis Presley that you're never going to make it.
Never going to make it.
You ain't never going to be on the Grand Ole Opry, and you ain't ever going to make it.
There's been a lot of them been told that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you'll never make it.
Oh, God, yes. There's been a ton of them.
You know what my first top 10 record was?
Which one?
Over.
Over? Yeah.
It was on an independent label.
Mm-hmm.
Before I signed with, that's what got me to RCA.
Yeah.
That same song, Over, since you mentioned that same song, Over, we took it to every label in town.
And they all shook that head.
I was even told by a couple, I ain't mentioning names, but a couple record executives back then, big names. It said that, they wouldn't even let it play long enough to even really know what it was.
Half of them only do like 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like that, I don't hear nothing there. There are a dime a dozen like that in this town. It went all the way around. I got turned down by every label in this town.
Man.
And like I said, I didn't have a top 20 record with Still Loving You, but
yeah,
that was years ago, but I was trying to get started again.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody turned me down. So we put out on an independent label called Orlando Records.
Right.
Okay? So we started pumping that thing to radio.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first top 10 record. It went to number 6. It went to number 6.
That is awesome.
In Billboard magazine, and you can look it up. There's been a lot of independent labels been up in the top 10.
Yeah.
Ovation Records, Heaven's Just Sent Away, a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
But they were distributed by a major label.
Yeah.
They might have been Ovation Records, but they were distributed by Capitol or Columbia, I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
They were distributed by them.
Yeah.
Okay. We were Orlando Records, non-distributed by no major label, period.
Mm-hmm.
And we made top 10, and we're one of the only ones that's done it.
That is awesome.
Then, and that was the reason I brought this up, because you said, Elvis, they can't do it. You wouldn't know.
Yeah.
That's what I was told, that this song's a dime a dozen.
Yeah, you ain't ever going to make it. Don't worry about it.
It proved them wrong. And
yeah.
We had nothing to do with radio, and they started playing it, and the phone started ringing.
Mm-hmm.
It made its own hit, non-distributed by a major label.
Yeah.
And that's what got all the record labels start beating our door down. Then they was wanting me then.
Oh, yeah.
And then we played the game.
Oh, yeah.
And we ain't interested.
Oh, yeah.
We ain't interested.
Well, and for people that are listening or watching the YouTube, back then, it was all about marketing your record to the DJs and the radio station programmers, and how many people they got calling in requesting that song,
right,
or that artist, is how everything was kind of rated back in the day through a big group of everybody, and it went up or it went down or it never made it.
Right.
But that was the best thing to do, is to get out there and market to those radio stations, the DJs.
Exactly.
And if they loved your stuff, oh, dude, you was gone.
And, back then, all the secondary radio stations and the smaller stations,
mm-hmm.
they actually played what they wanted to play.
Yeah.
But of course they were dictated to by Billboard.
Mm-hmm.
And back then there was not but 120 Billboard stations in the United States.
Yeah.
that controlled the music industry. That 120 stations is what reported to Billboard magazine.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Billboard magazine, which was the Bible of the music business.
Oh, yeah, it was
and
it.
that's what they compiled their charts out of, was through these 120 Billboard stations.
Yeah.
Well, you got thousands of radio stations out there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they would play a lot of records that wasn't on these Billboard stations,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But they also had to play what the Billboard stations were reporting because they were in competition. You had to have people listening to your little station because you're going to hear a big record, but then you're going to hear a lot of these other ones, you know.
Yeah, and kind of like local bands and stuff, yeah.
That kind of stuff. And but everything was dictated by 120 Billboard stations, and that's the way it was then.
See, I don't even know.
You had to get to those 120 stations, or you know, boom.
You know, say I don't even know how they're actually doing it now.
I don't either now. I mean, I have no idea because everything's downloaded now. You don't take the records out there and they spin the records and how many times that record's played.
Mm-hmm.
It's all downloaded and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know how it works either.
I don't either. I mean, I know. I think they give statistics or analytics because I get analytics on the podcast and the YouTube channel. And I don't know if they're doing that also through Spotify or Amazon. I mean, there's got to be some way to keep track of it.
When they release a record and all, they go that way, Spotify and all the platforms and all. And they can download them. The station can download them from whatever they want to and this kind of stuff like that. But how it's actually compiled and all that, now I don't have a clue.
I ain't got no clue. I'm gonna have to research that. Make sure I research that.
Yeah, that'd be
I want to know how to do that. I want to know how they do that.
That'd be interesting.
Because, I mean, we know how it used to be. But
yeah, it used to be, but
I don't know how it is
that's
now.
Old school now.
Somebody tell me.
I don't know. You ain't on me, you backing up.
I have no clue.
I don't either. But,
Lord.
Anyway, the point I was getting to, don't ever let nobody tell you you can't do, or whatever.
Well, that's...
you got to believe in yourself first. If you don't believe in yourself, you ain't going to get nobody else to believe in you. You got to believe in yourself.
Yeah, and don't take no for an answer the first couple of times. Just keep pushing forward.
And that's whoever tells you no, that's their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
The person right next to them might have a whole different opinion. So you can't, you know, but a lot of people get so bubble busted because they'll listen to what one person says.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe in what you're doing, go for it. Do it.
Oh, yeah. Trust me. My great aunt, she ate crow. Trust me. She ate them words big time because then I think Elvis made it big. And, oh, my God, my mom was a big Elvis fan. She loved him. And you was talking about that Honolulu live thing.
Hawaii Live, yeah.
Yeah, she had that album for years.
Well, boy, when I heard Elvis doing Still Loving You on that, I said, whoa.
Oh, yeah. Hey, royalties, please.
Well, I didn't write it now.
But she had...
actually, Bob Luman, I think Bob Luman wrote that song. I'm not sure who wrote it.
I don't know. Elvis had a lot of writers, though.
Mm-hmm.
He really did. I think he kind of like picked and chose which ones he really liked the most.
Yeah, he did. Whatever felt good to him. And whether they liked it or not, I mean, if it felt good to him, and he could make a magic song out of it.
Yeah. So out of the songs you've wrote, I'm going to pinpoint you on one question. This is the only real question I'm going to ask. Out of all those songs you wrote, which one was your favorite one to write, to play? Which one was it that it was everything to you? Just one song? Made you think, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
They just
my favorite song I recorded, but I didn't write it. Les Reed and Rex Goslin wrote "Just Give Me What You Think Is Fair."
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
That's your favorite.
That's my favorite song.
I can go with that.
Yeah, I didn't write it, but it's my favorite song. And I love doing that song.
I love to hear it.
Well, you have to play it.
I got to. Actually, what I'm going to do, honestly, since I know you're alive now, I'm actually going to do like a bunch of these other people. I hope they do. is I'm actually going to research some more and pull up some of your music and probably put it on my little digital download and add it to my little playlist.
Awesome.
Because
Great.
It has been an honor. It has been a pleasure having you on.
Well, while you're pulling up, let's go back to Jimmy Adams a minute now.
Yeah, let's go.
See, when we recorded I Stand the Tallest When I'm Down on My Knees, we actually recorded that while they came in, Jimmie had them come in and actually video it.
Right.
While we was recording it.
Oh, yeah, it's a big thing now.
That's the first time I've been in the studio in all those years, 32 years.
And then they shove cameras in your face, too.
Yeah. And they'd show him doing it and me doing it, and then they'd show us together and we're doing the harmonies and that kind of stuff. Uh-huh. They recorded that. And so ever since then, every song, we've been doing videos. And Jimmie lined all that up through iTube 247. Mm-hmm. And which, if you ain't ever went to iTube, it's kind of like YouTube and stuff like that, but they got
I got
video.
you wrote down here.
And iTube 247, you ain't been to iTube 247, go to it. It's got great video, not just mine, but he's got videos on there from everybody, that they've done, and it's just awesome.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to research also, and because I want to know more about this iTube247.com, and the way that it was told to me is you can just, pretty much like you was telling me, you can go on there and you can pull up any artist you want and see the videos and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think it's a great
how
tool.
How many views it's had and stuff like that.
I might have to look at putting my stuff on there.
And like, since when I come back out, and let's see, we've had 6 videos out, I think it is, and more and more and more, and you come out of where people think you're dead. So all of a sudden now you got videos out there, and this shows you how strong social media is. Yeah. I'm averaging 8 to 10. I got one like 12. I'm talking about million. 8 million, 10 million, 11 million. One's 12 million and something views.
Awesome.
And I said, gosh, man, that's a lot of people that knows I ain't dead.
Yeah, I know, right?
I think it's an old video. I don't know.
But it's got to do something good for you too, man. I mean, like, look, these people haven't forgot me. You made that impression.
And then you get these reviews and stuff like that. I mean, boy, it just makes you, man, we're so glad you're back. And bring country back.
Exactly.
That's the big thing.
Exactly.
I get that a ton. Bring country music back like it, when all this kind of
stuff. Like it used to be.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? My opinion on this, I do believe, because I believe traditional country is coming back. Mm-hmm. It's turning around. You can tell it even more and more on the radio now. And me and my wife was talking. You can go on Facebook and look. It's just people, how they get the guitars out or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And they sit there. Man, you get on there. We've been watching. Mm-hmm. You get the kids, like teenagers in there. And like 14 and 16 and even young people, 20 and 20, they're playing. And they are playing country. Mm-hmm. Not country.
Oh, yeah.
Country.
I can't.
And got voices. They're singing like the Mill Streets and this kind, country.
Yeah.
These are young kids.
Oh, dude, for the life of me, it escapes me the name of these 3 girls. But it's 3 girls. One's on the banjo, one's on the regular acoustic guitar, and the other one's on the fiddle.
And dances.
And she's got the old wooden box and doing the stomping.
Tap dances on it.
Yeah, she does the stomp on it.
Yeah, I seen that too.
And I seen that, and I was just like, holy crap.
Yep.
I ain't seen that in 30-something years.
And they're young.
And they're kids.
Yeah, they're young.
And I love it.
Yeah. She's doing that clogging like.
Yeah, the clogging.
The clogging and playing the fiddle at the same time.
And then, I've noticed also in a lot of the new artists that are coming out, it's only certain ones. I can't name them and all that stuff. I'm not going to. But I've noticed some of the newer artists coming out are getting back to that storytelling country music.
Exactly. I believe it's. They say history repeats itself.
Oh yeah, it does.
I believe country music is coming back. The younger generation, and why? It's the younger generation has never heard it. Mm-hmm. It's new music to them.
Oh yeah.
All this here supposedly country stuff that's out there now.
Yeah.
you know, they done got sick of that. They done heard all that. And now they're hearing a fiddle and a steel guitar, because, you know, new stuff ain't got no steel guitar. They hear steel guitar, and they hearing all this stuff, and actually a message in a song, and you can understand them, and all this kind of stuff. That, you think about 14, 15, 16, 18, 20-year-old, all this kind of stuff, they ain't heard that kind of stuff before.
No.
They were raised on all this other stuff. And it's like new music. It's new music for the younger generation now. Yeah. And they're loving it. And I believe that's what's going to happen.
And one of the big things also is, you know, kind of taking back to, you know, the reason y'all were called Outlaws and everything. I'm noticing a trend with some of the newer artists. They are tired of that overdone Pro Tools fine line. You ain't got no warmth to it. You ain't got none of this stuff in it. And I don't care how much you dial it in. You can't beat
analog.
You can't. I don't care who you are.
Give me that big old fat 2-inch tape any day.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you. I mean, I started out recording a guy in his basement. He finished his basement out, had a recording booth, everything. But just the recording of the whole band and the guy in the vocal booth singing and recording all of that at once on an old reel-to-reel.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Can't beat it.
You can't.
It's warm.
It's warm. It's beautiful.
Digital is so on the edge to me.
I call it impersonal.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's just not, I don't know, it ain't there. You know, I'm from the old days that had the razor blade and, I hope I cut this right.
Yeah. Did we get that splice right?
Oh, and then it jumps a little bit on you. So, find that piece.
Yeah.
Put that back in.
You got to mess with it a little bit anyway, just to get it back. Brother Leon, I mean, it has been awesome having you here. I've really, really have enjoyed this.
I have enjoyed it too, David. I mean, like I say, I can't thank you enough for having me on here.
Oh, I love it. I loved it. You know, that whole piece of history and everything, and you coming back and doing this stuff, and, you know, little David Wilkins and all that. I mean, I just love it, man. I love it.
I love the old, I love them too. I love all the old timers, and gosh, I don't know. If I can help bring country music back, that's what I want to do.
Exactly.
And good country music, and like I say, I do gospel music. Now, I play a lot of churches and festivals and fairs and stuff like that. But I do country gospel. There ain't nothing really changed but words. You know, I love my fiddles. I love my steel guitars. I mean, I still got that high energy, and I'm still high energy, you know?
Yeah, without the mellow yellow.
Yeah. Hey, read how much caffeine's in that.
Oh, I know. I know.
But I tell you what, I really like Mellow Yellow. I mean, I'm not getting no money out of it now, so this ain't no residual commercial. But even like, I mean, I get Mellow Yellows all the time. I like Mellow Yellow.
There you go.
And so maybe they'll pick up my residual thing, give me a dime for that one anyway. I don't know.
Hey, give them a call. Tell them. Ask them. Who knows? All right, y'all. Y'all check out Leon Everette music.com. I believe is what the website was that I read.
And on Facebook, it's just Leon Everette Music.
There you go. All right, we're going to get out of here. Much love and much honor, man. I appreciate it. And we will hopefully have you back on again.
Awesome, David. Thank you. And God bless all you folks out there. I love y'all. Love y'all. Love y'all.
All right, we're out of here. And like every time I say it at the end of the show, we'll see you. Bye.